Hello and welcome. Do you have a craft bin or a scrap bin of all the colors that you don't want to throw away, pieces left over from other projects that are either too big or too pretty? You don't want to throw them away, yet you don't know what to do with them? Today I'm going to share one idea with you. I'm using these scraps here that I have, and they have flecks of gold and melon mambo. So I'm going to, for my main card base, I'm going to coordinate it with melon mambo cardstock. This 8.5 by 5.5, and then the white cardstock is 5.25 by 4 inches. So you also need a two-sided adhesive that's going to be cut out the same size as your white cardstock. So that again is 5.25 by 4 inches. So you'll remove the one protective layer, and then you'll stick it to your the white cardstock. And then when you have it placed on there, I'm so sorry, I'm just noticing that my video is out of screen, but what I'm doing is that I'm applying the adhesive to that cardstock, and then I'll remove the protective layer from the cardstock, and then so that what I'm left with is a piece of cardstock with sticky white adhesive on it. So the scraps that for this particular technique should be strips. They don't all have to be the same size, and maybe anywhere from 1/8 of an inch to maybe 1/2 an inch. So all you're going to do is you're just going to lay them diagonally over top of the cardstock, and because it's sticky, they're going to stick there, of course. And then you're going to space them out so that you've got a little bit of space in between. And again, even the space that you're leaving in between the cardstock doesn't have to be the exact same dimensions. So you'll just continue to lay out your strips until you've covered your white cardstock. So once I'm done, I'm not going to trim the pieces yet. I'm going to leave them on the cardstock just as they are. And I'll trim them later. But I'm going to use this gold leaf foil, and I'm going to just sprinkle it over all the adhesive that's exposed in between the designer series paper. So I'm just going to spread it over and kind of pat it into place. And then as you're patting it into place, you're going to look for any areas that you might not have covered, and you'll be able to feel any stickiness with your finger that's left over. So just keep adhering the foil until you've got all the layers in between your strips all covered in the foil. When you're done, you're going to turn your cardstock over and gently tap off any of the excess gold foil. And you can put your excess back into your jar. You just have to be really careful because it's so light and airy that even breathing on it's going to blow it around, so you do kind of have to be careful. But just take your time and then put your extra back into your jar so that you've got it for use for later. And you're just going to go along the edges of each row that you've added the gold leaf foil to, and just burnish it with your finger. By rubbing it in, you're making sure that it's going to stick to your cardstock. And you can see that as we burnish it into, it's developing a really pretty shine. It flattens it out, and then there's no loose edges to it, so that it will stay onto your card. And then when you've got it all burnished and sticking to your card front, you're just going to flip it over, knock off any extra that's still hanging around, and then just use your paper snips and gently cut around so that you're cutting off all the excess of the strips. Just making sure that you don't cut into your white cardstock. You can use your trimmer if you want. It's up to you whether you use your scissors or your paper trimmer, but you'll want to get all these strips so that they're lined up with equally to the edges of all your paper. So the next part is an experiment that I haven't tried yet. Not sure how it'll turn out, so you're going to be on this ride with me, but that's part of the fun of creativity. I'm going to use my blending brush, and I'm going to gently rub a subtle colors of Melon Mambo and Calypso Coral onto another piece of white scrap white cardstock. What I'm using it for is the background I'm going to stamp a flower image on here, and I just want the color of the flower to be whatever background I sponge on here. It looks good in my head. I don't know what it's going to look like on paper, but we'll soon find out together. So then I'm going to use a stamp from the Stampin' Up! Shaded Summer Stamp Set, and I'm going to use Melon Mambo ink and stamp the image onto the background that I've just brushed on. Then we're just going to use a coordinating die to cut out the stamped image on our big shot. And then when we have that cut out, we're going to adhere the finished portion of the part that we did with the foil, and we're going to adhere that to our card front. Looking at the flower now, I don't really like the way it turned out. It's not the way I pictured it. Maybe I should have used some gold embossing for the foil outline, or gold embossing maybe for the outline of the flower. I'm not sure, but anyways, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some touches of color to it before adhering it to my card front. So I'll just use my Stampin' Blends to add some green leaves and give it a little bit of pizzazz. Then I'm just going to use some dimensionals so that instead of sticking the design right to the card front, I'm going to pop it up a little bit just to give it a little bit more oomph. And then I want to add a greeting. So I'm going to still use the happy birthday greeting, I think from the same stamp set of Shaded Summer. And then I'm going to use an oval punch. And I'm just going to make sure that the happy birthday fits on the smaller one. So I'm going to I'm going to stamp the happy birthday in Melon Mambo on a scrap piece of paper. And then I'm going to use a small oval to punch it out. And then I'll use Melon Mambo for the next larger size to just put behind it. And then I'll tape them together, and then I'll add that to my card front. I'm still not really in love with this card. I feel like it's missing something. Sometimes I tend to overthink things, but you know, we have embellishments for a reason. So I'm going to add some pearls just randomly to the front of the card. And I think I'm going to like this a little bit better. It's coming together just a little bit more now. I think that'll do it. I think it's pretty. The gold really shines through. It's quite pretty. Here's another version that I did using the same technique, the same stamp set, but this time I just used some cardstock layers for the stamped flower image and for the greeting. So as you can see, the technique is very versatile and the possibilities are endless. And how you finish it is up to you and your own creativity. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we would really love it if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and even if you came and joined our new Facebook group. We're happy that you are here, and thank you so much for watching.